हेलो एवरीबॉडी, आई एम मुस्कान मूलचंदानी। वेलकम टू क्रिएटिव एज। जो आप आगे वीडियो देखने वाले हैं दैट इज बीन शॉट बाय द स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ क्रिएटिव एज। ऑल्दो इट इज़ एन एजुकेशनल वीडियो एंड हम लोगों ने इसकी क्लास भी कंडक्ट कराई हुई है, पर कोशिश ये करी है कि हम एक होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट की तरफ स्टूडेंट्स को ले जाएं और उस हिसाब से हम लोगों ने उनकी खुद को, उनकी प्रतिभा जो निखारने की कोशिश की है, उनकी पर्सनालिटी को ग्रूम करने की कोशिश की है। एंड दैट इज़ वाई वी हैव ट्राइड एंड अटेम्प्टेड टू शूट दिस वीडियो। प्लीज़ shower us with a lot of love. The students have really worked hard to make this video.
Brutalism is not just in style, it's an attitude. Hello everyone, I am Nihil Jain and here I am today with some insights upon brutalism, an architectural moment. Brutalist architecture is developed in 1950s in United Kingdom following Second World War. It involves post-World War era in between 1950s and 70s. It emphasizes on using raw materials, and it's characterized by raw, exposed concrete and bold geometric forms. It is mainly seen in cultural and civic buildings built in 1950s and 70s. If modernism is about architecture being honest, then brutalist design is about architecture being brutally honest. Its forms are as simple as it can be, and its material is striped by bare and raw as possible as it can be. Now we'll see why it is called brutalism. The term brutalism is emerged from the French word called béton brut, meaning raw concrete. Many credit Swedish architect Hans Asplund for coining the term when describing Villa Goth, a residential building in 1949. In 1950s, Allison and Peter Smithson used the term for describing the approach to modernization. Now we'll see some popular example of brutalist architecture and artists. The first one is Habitat 67 by Moshe Safdie. It's located in Montreal. Habitat 67, comprising 354 identical concrete cubes arranged in various combinations. The second one is Radiant City by Le Corbusier. It's one of the most influential building in brutalist moments, and it's located in Marseille. The third one is Geisel Library by William Pereira. Part of UC San Diego, Geisel Library is often celebrated among the brutalist moments, and it is referred as lantern design, and it's often commended for its brutalism or blending for its futurism. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Tamanna and my topic is Bauhaus. So what is Bauhaus? Bauhaus is a German art school operational from 1919 to 1933 with the aim 1933 which combined craft and fine arts. The school became famous for its approach to design, which is attempt to unify individual artistic vision with the principle of mass production and function. The school initiated conceptual understanding of architecture and design. So the next question is, what are the characteristics of Bauhaus? So Bauhaus has so many characteristics such as straightforward, simplicity, modern design, use of authentic materials, and focus on mass production. The next question is, what is Bauhaus movement? The Bauhaus was founded by architect Walter Gropius in 1919 in Weimar. Its idea was grounded with the creation of comprehensive artwork in which all the art forms will brought together. The Bauhaus later became famous for its influential currents for modern designs, architecture, education, modern architectural education, and modern architectural education and modern designs. The Boas movement profound influence on sequential development on architecture, interior design, graphic designs, industrial designs, and typography. The location of Boas, the Boas was located in 3 cities. First was Weimar from 1919 to 1925. They served from 1925 to 1932, and in Berlin from 1932 to 1933. Thank you.
Byzantine architecture. Hello everyone, today I am going to tell you about Byzantine architecture. Byzantine architecture is the architecture of the Roman Empire or the Byzantine Empire, usually dated from 330 AD. Byzantine architecture has been the most influential architecture since 1500 years. The characteristics of Byzantine Empire are Byzantine architecture as mosaics, round arches, Orthodox Christian influences, and Roman and Greek influences. Few examples of Byzantine architecture. Hagia Sophia of Istanbul. Hagia Sophia was built under the most noble rulers of the Byzantine. It was one of the most leading influential Byzantine architecture monuments. Basilica of Saint Apollonaire Nuovo. This basilica is technically not of Byzantine architecture but was highly influenced by the works of Byzantines. The monastery of Pantocrator. This monastery is the second largest monastery or the second largest religious Byzantine works of architecture still existing in the world. The Basilica of Saint Vichael. This basilica is a great example of centrally planned Orthodox church which was made during the Byzantine Empire rule. These are few of the examples of Byzantine architecture which shows how great the Byzantine architecture really is. Thank you.
Hello everyone, today I am going to talk about Gothic architecture. Gothic architecture is a style that flourished in Europe during High and Late Middle Ages. It evolved from Romanesque architecture and it later evolved into Renaissance architecture. Gothic architecture is known for its verticality, light-filled interiors, and its pointed arches and flying buttresses. And some key features of Gothic architecture are pointed arches. These allow the structure to reach great heights and stability. Ribbed vaults, these provide a stable framework for the structure, and flying buttresses, external support. These structures support the external weight of the wall and this whole structure. Large stained glass windows. These windows fill the interior with color and light, and ornate decorations, including structures, gargoyles, and stoneworks. Some notable Gothic cathedrals are Notre Dame de Paris in France, and Chartres Cathedral in France, and Cologne Cathedral. It is one of the biggest cathedrals in Europe. And let's talk about the legacy of Gothic architecture. Gothic architecture has had a long-lasting impact on architectural design. Its principle of verticality, light, and intricate detail influenced and the development of later styles such as Renaissance and Gothic revival of 19th century. Today, Gothic architecture is celebrated for its artistic and engineering achievement, and many of the Gothic cathedrals are UNESCO World Heritage Sites.
Good morning everyone, I'm Soumya and today I'm going to talk about the Greek Revival architecture. The Greek Revival architecture was introduced in India during the British colonial era, which is particularly about mid-19th century. These Greek architecture structures were mainly inspired by the symmetry, proportion, simplicity, and elegance of the ancient Greek temples. The main features of this architecture are the low-pitched gable walls and their impressive rows of columns or pilasters, which are mainly built on the porticos, the small entrance in the front of the building, which is usually small or might cover the entire front area, above which the pediments are built, which are the triangular spaces which are usually covered by moldings and carvings. White marbles are usually used in these buildings to showcase the element of ancient Greek temples. Some finest examples of Greek architecture in India are Gateway of India, St. Paul Cathedral, National Library of India, or the Government Museum. These buildings are usually made with a mix of Gothic or Indian architecture with the Greek essence.
Thank you. Hello everyone, I am Akshana. Today I'll be talking about modern architecture. Modern architecture, also called the Modernist architecture, it was a movement style that was prominent in 20th century between the Art Deco and postmodern movement. Modern architecture was based upon new and innovative technologies of construction. History. The modern architecture is the architecture style that was dominate the Western world between 1930s to 1960s. And was characterized by analytical and functional approach to the building and designs. According to Le Corbusier, the root of the movement will be found in the work of Eugene Villard-de-Luz. The movement will emerge in the First World War in the half of 20th century and became dominant after the World War II until 1980s. Here are some examples of architecture. First is Villa Sofia in France by Le Corbusier. Second is Falling Water in Peninsula by Frank Lloyd Wright, and last one is Sydney Opera House in Australia by John Woodson. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Chail Arya and I am going to throw light on neoclassical architecture. Neoclassical architecture emerged in 18th century, drawing inspiration from Asian, Greek and Roman style to create elegant symmetrical structure. Now, I would like to define some neoclassical style. First, symmetry, balanced, harmonious design focused on proportion. Second, classical influence drawn from Asian, Greek and Roman architecture. And in this architecture, the personification the word prestige and grandeur. Now, I would like to sharing some key architecture elements. The key architecture. Okay. So column, prominent use of Greek or Roman column orders and pediments, triangular shapes above the main entrance, and domes which are majestic domes roof inspired by pantheons, and symmetric is crucious elements, buildings which are very balanced and proportion. Next, I would like to sharing some influential neoclassical architect. First is Andrea Palladio, and secondly is Sir Christopher Wren, and thirdly is Thomas Jefferson, and fourthly is John Nash. Here are some examples of neoclassicism. Louvre Museum in Paris, US Capitol Building, Washington in DC, and Hermitage Museum Saint in Petersburg. Thank you.
So hello everyone, this is Minu presenting the rise of Renaissance architecture. So the Renaissance was a period of time between 1400 to 1600 AD when Italy and Northern Europe returned to the classical ideas of the Age of Awakening. Classical architecture of Greece and Rome inspired by the architecture of Renaissance. Renaissance architecture was very symmetrical and well proportioned. So now coming to Giacomo da Vignona. He was an architect who, with Andrea Palladio and Giulio Romano, dominated Italian Mannerist architectural design and statistically anticipated the Baroque. Now coming with Filippo Brunelleschi. He best known for designing the Dome of Duomo in Florence. And do you know what? It is said that he is the one who rediscovered the principle of linear perspective, an artistic device that creates an illusion of space by depicting converging parallel lines. Now coming with Michelangelo Buonarroti. also known as Michelangelo, was an Italian sculptor, painter, architect, and the poet of High Renaissance. Now coming with Andrea Palladio, he was an Italian Renaissance architect active in Venetian Republic. Palladio influenced by Roman and Greek architecture. Now coming to Asians, the famous architect. First comes is Redentor Church, located in Venice, Italy, designed by Andrea Palladio. Next comes is Saint George Maggiore, located in Venice, Italy. Next comes is the Louvre, a masterpiece constructed out of cut stones, designed by Pierre Lescot. This building is truly a great example of French Renaissance architecture. Next is Villa El Marico Quebra, designed by Andrea Palladio, located near Vicenza, Italy. Next comes is Basilica Palladiana. It is a 15th century Gothic style building located in northeastern Italy. Now coming with the features of Renaissance building. The first is symmetrically arranged doors and windows. Second is classical columns and pilasters. Third is triangular pediments. Fourth is niches with sculptures. Fifth is square lineals, and last but not the least is domes. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Today I'm here to talk about the Roman architecture. The Roman architecture had taken inspiration from early Etruscan styles, with some of its key features being, for some of its key developments being as early as 600 BCE, like the Cloaca Maxima. Some key features of the Roman architecture are concrete. The Romans used concrete, which was a mixture of volcanic ash, lime, and water, which was used to create a stable structure for any building. As you can see here, the dome of the Pantheon was built with concrete, which could not be achieved by the traditional stone construction. Arches. The Roman perfected the art of arches. They used it to distribute weight evenly. It was seen in buildings and bridges. Walls. The Roman architects used walls, which was a continuous series of arches, which was called a barrel vault, and a groin vault, which was 2 barrel arches placed consecutively. Thank you, everyone.
Hi everyone, myself Khushi Gupta, and my today's topic is Kushan Empire. Kushan Empire was the Shakas tribes came from the region, same region as the Aryas came from. Some historical says that Shakas are also Aryas. The Kushan Empire covered with the northern and western, like India's Pakistan, Afghanistan, and China. The trade between Kushan Empire is East and Europe from the Silk Route. The Bactrians ruled much of northern India and Central Asia from 1 CE to 300 CE. Like this is the 2 heroes of Kushan Empire. In the Shiv Parvati in Kushan time, the art and architecture. The Gandhara school of art flourished under Kushan Prostate, producing sculpture and the art that blended Hellenistic and the Indian influence. The Shiv and Buddhism Kushan coins and the Garunda Gandhara art. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Ashika Singh and today I'm presenting on Tudor style architecture. So Tudor architecture is a style that developed in England in 1485 to 1604 and blends Renaissance and perpendicular Gothic elements. You can see many Tudor houses in England today. Most of them are almost 500 years old. Now, how can you recognize a Tudor style house? In Tudor times, most houses were half timbered. They had wooden frames and spaces between them were filled with sticks and clay, which was called as wattle and daub. At that time, glass was very fashionable and it showed how rich a person was. Like people used to be like, oh look, I must be so rich because I have so much glass in my house. Now let's see with this slide. Now let's see with this slide some features about Tudor style designs. So this is an average house in Tudor times with its steeply pitched gable roof and patterned brick exterior with exterior wall stone chimneys and rounded arched entrance and doorways. Now, and these are the examples of Tudor style architecture which are very famous, that is Hardwick Wall, Cambridge University and Oxford University. Now with this, Tudor style architecture brings a unique blend of medieval medieval charm and Renaissance elegance. It's just not about look, it's about the story these structures tell, the stories of craftsmanship, the cultural exchange, and timeless beauty. Thank you.
Hi, this is Shabnam and my topic is Victorian architecture. Victorian architecture is a series of architectural revival styles in the mid to late 19th century. Victorian here refers to the reign of Queen Victoria, called Victorian era. And during this period, the style known as Victorian were used in construction. And now the history. Victorian homes were originally a British architecture style. They originated during the reign of Queen Victoria from 1837 to 1901. The style, although now is so iconic, but it borrows from many different architecture styles before it. Now the characteristics, such as steeply pitched roofs, plain or painted bricks, painted iron railings, small gardens, and so on. Here are a few examples of Victorian architecture style. First, the Royal Albert Hall in London. Here, Royal Exhibition Building in Australia, and the Palace of Westminster in London. Thank you.
Well, क्या आप लोगों को मज़ा आया इस तरीके का वीडियो देखकर? खैर हमें तो बहुत मज़ा आया जब हमने ये वीडियो बनाया. आई होप दैट साथ साथ में इट वॉज ऑल्सो एन एजुकेशनल लर्निंग फॉर ईच एंड एवरी वन ऑफ यू. थैंक यू फॉर बीइंग पेशेंट विद अस.